As you already saw, I wrote some things down from your website. How did you start with like nutrition and supplements, or with like doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it was something that I didn't. It just find me. Like I studied biology, and then I didn't know what to do with my life.
Sure.
And then a friend just told me, Monica, why don't you go into nutrition? That sounds nice. And I said, okay, let's give it a try. And then actually I just fell in love, and the main thing of this job is that I like to help women to feel good with themselves, right? So this is my end goal. I know that women just think about weight loss and all that stuff, but at the end, the women just wanted to feel free to be as they are, right?
Sure, yeah.
So this is how I started, and I started 8 years ago already. Yeah, and it's going fine. I studied in Italy, and then I moved here in Berlin, and also with the online after COVID. So it's going well.
Sure.
Yes.
So how was that? Like, I mean, when you started, was it all individual? Like it is right? I think it is that way right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, maybe a woman or any client, it could be you have mans as well, right?
Yes.
Clients. So anybody has an interest in either improving their health, or they might be, maybe they heard of you from somewhere.
Yeah.
So they contact you directly through your website, I guess. And then how does the process look like? You have an initial talk, or they already give you some information like height and weight and something, or how does it work?
Yeah, you just take an appointment with me, and then you come to my studio and to my office, and then we just discuss more about your life, your habits, and what I do actually is I don't want to change your overall life. I just wanted to improve it, right?
Sure.
So yeah, of course, the people come because they always want to lose some weight, but still be healthy. And we have some talks about diets and what is really realistic regarding weight loss. And we talk more like a sustainability of a diet, so not just for weight loss, but just for be healthy and not having this yo-yo effect, right? Because people do a lot of diets, and then they just gain weight and lose weight, gain weight and lose weight. That's really frustrating, right? So yeah, we talk a lot about this.
What's the main factor with the sustainability? Like, I definitely understand what you're saying in terms of you have a goal, then you see something online, it might be a certain diet or whatever, then you do that, but you realize that you're just pushing yourself to do it to achieve a goal, but it's not a long-term thing. And you stop after 2 weeks because that was your goal, or 3 weeks, maybe you lost 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, or maybe you gained muscles, 5-6 pounds, but then you stop because it never really was realistic to implement all those changes.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
that's the point.
and what do you think is what's the main issue with that, or is there something where you say that's the main thing that people should do to make it sustainable and like a long-term thing? Is there one thing, or is it like really a multitude of different things?
As a starter, people are really impatient.
Sure.
They just want to lose weight really fast. So when they see something like lose 20 kilos in 1 month, they say, oh my God, I have to do this. And then when they start to do it, it's a lot of sacrifice that doesn't match with the lifestyle. So you can hold it and then do it for 1 month, but then later you're going to go back to your old habits. So how did you get to that point? It's just because you were impatient first.
Okay. So impatience is a big one.
Yes.
Okay.
And secondly is because you don't listen to your body. If you're hungry, you think like, no, I shouldn't eat, or I should have something really light, or oh my God, why I'm eating that much. So when you don't listen to your hunger, that's worse, and then everything becomes really a mess, and you don't know. Sometimes I say to people, eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. And people say, it's easy for you, Monica, say that. So it became so hard to do that, right?
Sure, yeah. No, that makes sense. And so I think you talked specifically right now about weight loss. Is there, I guess, can you say, is it like 80 or 90% of your clients?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what about the rest? Is there another major thing, like, I don't know, for like men to gain muscle?
Yes,
or is that
yeah,
also?
right.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's another one.
That's 10%. We actually meant 10% comes to me.
Okay.
Yes, muscle mass and sports. Sports nutrition is a thing, but yes, I'm not that. I like sports. I did a lot. I studied that, but I'm not focused so much on that.
Sure.
But yeah, sports is a thing for guys.
Okay, and yeah, you're right. Like on your website, you say your focus is weight loss and stress eating.
Stress eating, yes.
Can you explain a little bit or tell me a little bit more about stress eating?
Yeah, it's more like when you cope with the food. So like you're stressed, or either you're bored or you're sad or angry. You use food as a coping mechanism to just numb your feelings, and that's actually a thing with everybody. Like the majority of people that I follow, they don't like their job, for instance, and the first thing they do when they come back home, it's now I can relax, but they eat instead of relax.
Sure.
So that's two different things, and then I say, okay, you want to relax or you want to eat? So when they start to do the eating thing, then they start to gain weight, and then they think, okay, I have to go on a diet. No, you have to see what's going wrong in your life. So that's the stress eating.
Sure. So that's quite interesting, like the combination of psychology and the nutritional aspect. In your studies, when you did your masters in Rome, right? Was psychology a big part of your? Or?
No.
Okay.
That's something that I discovered later, because at the beginning I was just doing diets like everybody does, without taking account the psychology factor. And then people will just fail. They will just follow the diet for a while, and then they will come back to me after 1 year with the weight back.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So then I started to ask myself, what is going wrong? I mean, there is something that I'm missing, and it was the psychology factor. And what I did actually, it's not so much about psychology; it's more about behavior and the coaching, how to coach people. Because when you coach people, you deal not just with nutrition but with their overall life, right? So it's a matter of lifestyle at the end. It's not about this diet or that kind of diet. So I believe the coaching factor is really, really important. It is a bit of psychology, yes, but more behavior.
Okay. You talked about this with the impatience a little bit, that you see a lot of advertisements or a lot of people maybe online saying lose 10 kg in 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that a part of the, I would see that as a part of the nutritional industry, industry. How much does it affect the people and affect your business as well because of these unrealistic goals, or these unrealistic promises from these people and companies? How does it impact your business?
Well, it gives me a lot of work actually. And then I always will have clients because they just follow these trends, unrealistic trends. So from one perspective, yes, I got plenty of work and clients, but from the other side, people are just frustrated. So if they fell into the wrong professional, they just do another diet. So you will just be always in the same situation over and over and over and over. And then the industry is just getting money out of this, without saying about supplements or weight loss pills or other stuff that are really just a waste of money.
And you mentioned the supplements. So it's becoming a huge market. It was for the last, 20 years, 30 years, I would say, but now it's really increasing a lot. And I think there is not really an understanding of, one, how do supplements help me? And two, which one should I take? Is there something that you use in your business in terms of supplements? Like, like essential vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C or whatever? Or is it something you stay away from?
May I ask you what's your understanding about supplements, if you ever use something?
Yeah, I mean, understanding in terms of, I think they're beneficial, but it depends what you use, the quality of the supplements, and what your goal is. So you basically, when you're living in a country like Germany in the winter where you don't have sun for 3 or 4 months, it could make sense to take vitamin D, especially if you have a darker skin like me, for example.
Totally.
So then the question becomes, how much should you take? There's like an official recommendation from the WHO, which is I think 500 units per day or something like this.
Okay.
From what I understand, this is quite conservative in a sense of it's quite low.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it depends on what supplements,
Yes.
right? So I'm not an expert in that sense, but I kind of research a lot, and I understand that there's a lot of supplements out there, but also a lot to understand in regards to every supplement. So yeah. So I personally do take vitamin D. I also depending on the day or depending on the period in my life, I also took like ashwagandha, like some type of herbs, you know. Moringa I took for some time, and now I'm taking like some Indian Ayurvedic stuff. Like my dad was in India, so he brought me some stuff.
Okay.
And
did you feel some benefit with that?
Yeah, so that was specifically for my asthma. I have like allergic asthma in regards to like the pollen. I actually had a lot of issues with my asthma when I was younger, and when I went to the doctors, or when I used to go to the doctors, they obviously, in regards to school medicine with asthma, is kind of a tricky thing. Usually they prescribe you these cortisol sprays.
Yes.
And the side effects are kind of, I remember
not
them
nice.
to not being that nice. Like I had a cold probably every 2 weeks or something. So I really thought, like that was even pre-COVID, I thought about, I don't want to take this cortisol anymore. So I watch a lot of podcasts, and there was one Joe Rogan podcast with, I forgot the name of the guy, but he referenced a breathing technique, and that was a massive change for my asthma. Like it's from, it's called the Buteyko method from Dr. Buteyko. So it's basically you should reduce the amount of inhales you do. So it's like stopping your breathing actively multiple times a day for as long as you can, and also make sure that actually don't talk too much, like when you don't have to, you know. So it's about CO2 in your blood, and that made a massive difference for me with my asthma.
Nice, so interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It was wild, you know, because all these years it impacted like your life quality, obviously. Yes. And then you find out that it's a breathing technique. For me, you know, obviously for somebody else it might not work, that's cool. But for me it made probably 85% difference in the symptoms. So that's why I'm taking the Ayurvedic, and that helped again a little bit more, you know. I don't have like massive issues anymore, but it, you know, made another step forward. It's also like I think a combination of different herbs and stuff, you know, like Ayurvedic.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
But regarding supplements, so first of all, you need to have a deficit. Like you have to check with your blood if you're missing something. People start to take supplement just because.
Sure.
Right. And secondly, it's pointless to take supplements if your basic nutrition is not good. Why do you take that? And the third point, like omega-3 is a thing, right? Like people take it and that's good, but they don't eat fish. The omega-3 that is inside the food, natural food from nature, is different than the pill. It will never be the same. We don't know why, but it's definitely the body just absorbs it in a different way when it comes from nature instead of from a pill, right? So I will say that the only vitamin you should take since the beginning, always check with your doctor, but we all need it, is the vitamin D, as you said. And doctors recommend to take 1,000 per day, and it's very, very, very low. I recommend my clients all to take at least 5,000, and that's what I take. And people say, now I can see the difference. Now I sleep better, I feel more energized. And actually, it's not just because of the seasonal thing, but it's more because even on summertime, if you think, we spend more time indoors than outdoors because of our jobs, right? So at the end, take it also in summertime. And the maximum amount for somebody that can say, hey, Monica, but then if I take it too much, then I can overdose. No, don't worry, because then you should take 20,000 per day, and then you will never do that. So it's pretty safe. So no worries about that. So that's one. And the main other supplements that I can suggest is just magnesium, because everybody has the deficit of that. And just that. The other stuff, you don't need to spend money with that at all.
It probably then depends if there's an individual issue, right? Then maybe you take something else.
Yes.
So you said it correctly. I also wrote it down beforehand. Like, it doesn't help you to take all these supplements if your basic nutrition or like a basic sense of like your health isn't there.
Yes.
So I wrote down like things like, which I thought were very important, which I didn't do in my youth, like drinking water. I'm not sure how much would you recommend. Is there like a thing you would recommend? I heard like, I don't know, like 3/4 of a gallon, which is like 2 to 3 liters, something like this. Or
yeah, around 2 is already enough.
Okay, that's enough. Okay,
yes,
fair enough.
You don't have to go more.
And what do like, how important do you think is working out in your lifestyle?
Okay, so now here is a nice statistic studies. Overweight people that exercise regularly live longer than skinny people that don't exercise.
Interesting. Yeah, I've there's a book from an American doctor which went not viral, but it sold a lot of copies. I forgot the name, but he's a big proponent of like vegan and vegetarian diet, and in his examples or in his arguments that he brought up, they compared like some people who did like only vegan diet or refrain from like meat, which is like a whole nother issue. Like, quality of meat in America is like totally different than in Europe. And he also always had like people who worked out regularly, and they had this like the same levels of like quality of life basically.
Yeah.
They didn't really consider what the people who were working out what they ate.
Yeah.
So basically shouldn't mean that if you work out you should just eat whatever.
Exactly, yes.
But I think it has a main issue. I mean, I work out regularly, and not only for your health, but it gives you like a routine.
Yes.
Yes. So okay, I should do that, and after the workout I always feel amazing, and it obviously does a lot for your health as well.
It helps with stress, for instance. Instead of eating, then you can do some exercise as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have like drinking water, working out, and then is there like a basic level of healthy eating, or what does that mean to eat healthy? Can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, okay, that's a nice question. Eat everything. Do not take off anything else. So it's like balanced nutrition is 80% healthy, which is like some food that you cook, but without taking out any macronutrients. So sometimes people, when they think like I have to eat healthy, it's just less carbohydrates or less fat, or that's it. No, actually, it should be a nice balance. So here is where a nutritionist can really, really help you, because you might not have the real idea of how much is that. When I say not, you need still fat and carbohydrates, but do not overdo it, and do not go too little. So stay in a medium range. And 20% fast food, pizza, whatever you want, because it's still good to have that. I always say it's good for your soul to have this. Now, because of the diet industry, they call it a cheat day, and that is something really, really bad to say that, because then people feel guilty because of that.
Sure,
right?
The psychological factor, yeah. Okay.
There is nothing wrong with that. You're not cheating anybody. Who are you cheating? I mean, you're just eating, right? Yeah. So it's not cheating. I always say you just get out. You just went to a restaurant. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, if you only consider like, I don't know, healthy food, and when you go out it's like, no, I cannot eat this or that. I get that. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't really think about it too much. Or I cannot drink that beer or whatever. Yeah. This can also impact you, right? So you're basically saying it's not like if you eat it once a week you're gonna die.
No, not at all. Even if you eat always clean, as they say, so it's a lot of vegetables and good carbohydrates or whatever, you're still gonna crave something else, like chocolate or this greasy stuff. You're still gonna, why do you have these cravings? Because actually your body needs a little bit of that.
Sure.
It needs it. So saturated fat, that are like the worst kind of fat you could have, it that is like in red meat or greasy stuff, we still need that. Not that much, of course, but still we need it.
Sure.
So you always have the balance. When I say balance, it's not that you always do something really right. What is right? Right is a bit of everything, right?
Sure.
So just you have to enjoy your food. Also, because if you think about it, when people think that they are cheating at the restaurant, when they go to the restaurant, what they're gonna do on Monday? They're gonna eat just a salad. They're gonna try to compensate that, because, oh my God, I have so much yesterday, not today. I have to eat very, very little. And then what happens? Then you start to be hungry. When you start to be really, really hungry, then you will eat everything because you cannot hold it anymore.
Sure.
So there is, or people can hold it all the week, and then when it's Saturday, Friday night, boom, they eat so much because they're hungry and they're missing the food that they like.
Sure. Yeah, that's an interesting like effect, right? If you think about it, is there one type of food that people get wrong about? I mean, you said it a little bit about like food with saturated fats or whatever, but is there like one type of food, like a specific food that people get wrong about in regards to whether it's very healthy or not very healthy?
Yeah, pasta.
Okay.
As an Italian, of course.
Sure, you have to say that. But in what sense? Can you explain?
No, carbohydrates in general. The first thing that people cut when they think that they are eating healthy or to lose weight is just cut carbs. So it could be rice, but rice not, because people say that, okay, potatoes and pasta. People get it so wrong because they think, oh my god, I'm gonna gain weight, that's bad for me. Actually, it's not, because any kind of carbohydrate, it doesn't matter if it comes from rice, from pasta, or from fruits, it's the same. And the body, the primary energy for your body, for the metabolism to work, it's carbohydrates. And if you cut it out, then metabolism start to go crazy, and then nothing happens. Actually, you start to lose muscle mass if you do that. So the biggest misconception with people regarding nutrition, it's like they are afraid of carbs. All the diets work in the direction of cut carbs.
Sure. Where do you think that comes from? Is that from the industry, or like I know about this, right? People like say cut carbs.
Yes.
You know, to do whatever, to be better at losing weight or whatever. But where does it come from?
It goes to the first thing that we said, impatience.
Okay.
When you cut carbs, you get results really, really fast. But what kind of result? Is the kind of result that you wanted? Because actually you don't. When you cut carbs, you lose a lot of water and muscle mass. But then you see on the scale, yeah, I'm losing weight so fast. I'm starting, whatever, I'm losing weight fast. And when they stop it, because eventually you need these carbs back, you're getting all the weight back.
Sure.
All right. So the industry just, it's a lot of psychology. I mean, industry know that people want to lose weight fast. What can I imagine? What can I set up to give this to people? Right, to satisfy this this demand, and it's like that's just carbs. So if you analyze your any kind of diet, you will see that all of them has really, really low carbs.
Sure. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. But is that the same for people who do bodybuilding? Is that the same thing? Because I also see them, like, I don't know, one day before their show or whatever, they basically only eat fat and protein, I think. I'm not sure, but is that the same, or is it just a different competing thing?
Yeah, no, it's a different competing thing. That makes sense. Yes, they do that something really extreme. Yes,
but obviously that doesn't apply to everyday Joe.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. And there is this, I'm not sure if it's a scale, I'm not sure if it's an official recommendation by, you know, the WHO or the government, but there's a certain thing which you see also on food packages in regards to like the macros, fat, carbs, and protein. Do you agree with the amounts that you should take? Like this, I think the official recommendation from the German government or health ministry is, I think, 2,000 calories.
Yes.
Okay, and then I think they also have it for, like, you know, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. Would you agree with that, or is it something that you say it's actually you need to individualize this?
You definitely need to individualize that.
Okay.
But if you have to come out with an average, that's definitely 2,000 calories. I would say 2,000 calories, it's applicable more to women, and guys should have more than that. But, you know, like an average, you have to take out the minimum and the maximum, so you come up with 2,000. Regarding packaged food, also people say, oh, I cannot have nothing that is packaged because that's not healthy. Not really. I mean, sometimes there are some stuff that are still good. You just have to read the label, and people don't read the label at all. So just read the ingredients. What is inside that package? Because sometimes you can buy something and it starts with sugar, so it means that at least 50% of the product is made out of sugar, so that's not a good product. So let's see another one. Okay, the other one starts with oat. Oh, that's great, so it means 50% is oat. Oat is a good thing, so I can take this. Plus, what about all this long list of chemical stuff they put inside? That means that actually it's not that good, but there is a but. if it's something that you really like, you don't have to avoid that like hell, like, oh, this is really bad for me. If it's something that you really like, let's say a cookie, a really dirty cookie or whatever, I mean, just have it. The most important thing is the the way that you consume it. Because if you have it every day after a meal, then it's a problem.
It's a problem,
right?
Sure.
Instead, it's something just because of the taste, and you just like it. It's okay. You just have it in your home. There's nothing bad with that.
What about frozen fruits and vegetables?
That's great.
Yeah, so that's also what I heard. I'm not sure if that's true, but if they freeze it right after harvesting, they basically still have all the nutrients and stuff. I'm not sure if that's a
freezing is a great way to conserve food. So I say to people, just have freeze stuff, so it's more practical. No problem with that.
I put that in my smoothie every morning or in my shakes.
Yeah. So you do great.
What about, you also offer meal plans, right? In Berlin, or I think in the West in general, you have a new industry coming up in regards to meal prep. There's a company which is called Chef Coco, who, for example, they do pre-made meals. I think either the night before or the same day, and then you get it delivered and you just have to heat it up. What do you think about these kinds of things? I think it can for sure help somebody who may work a lot and doesn't have the time to make the food. But do you know something about this, or what do you think about meal prep in general if you do it yourself?
I don't do it myself, meal prep. I more recommend people to just once you cook more for the other days, for the upcoming days. So once you make, for instance, rice, not just do the portion that you need. Do 4 or 5 portions and put in the fridge, right? People that like to meal prep just do it in the Sunday, so that's up to you. But in the moment you have a meal plan, it's easy for you to do that, because then you know what you have to put.
Sure.
Regarding these services, some companies asked me to join them, but I didn't want to, because it is expensive. And in my opinion, it's not sustainable in the long term. What do you do if they don't? If eventually you stop using the service?
Sure.
How are you going to manage your nutrition that? You're delegating this to somebody else. I don't believe that. So in my case, for instance, I always say to people, this is the meal plan, but I don't want you to do that in a passive way. Do it in an active. So let's talk. What do you like? Let's put some brain into that, because you have to understand why we're doing something. And the meal prepping thing, the service is the same. I mean, you just give it to me and then I do it. Okay, but what if that service just you cannot use it anymore because it's too expensive?
Sure.
What are you gonna do later? So, but that goes back to psychology, because people want to get told what to do instead of learn, because learning requires more energy, right? But the payoff is much better than at the end, right?
Sure.
So, but at the end, it's okay to use these services. I just recommend to put some brain into that. Don't rely on that 100%, because eventually you won't use it anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with you, especially like the attitude of like not being responsible for it. Like, it's being done for you, it's comfortable. So there are certain times I think where it's obviously not wrong, but if you use it too much and you get dependent, then it's going to be tough to really to see improvements over the long term. But where do you think this that comes from? Obviously, it's a huge issue in the society, or maybe not an issue, but a huge thing in terms of how many people are that comfortable. Is that a education thing from the schools and universities? Do you have an opinion on this, or is it
about what? I didn't understand the question.
In terms of like being not 100% responsible for the things, and comfort zone, receiving the things, or is it just okay, we're now in the 21st century in the West, we have a lot of improvements, a lot of things which come easy with the phones and stuff. Is it too hard, is it too complex to put it on one factor? Because I feel like sometimes I could have learned much more in school.
For sure, that's for sure. Education is a big thing. Yes, that's one thing. But in the long run, I would say that it's more like making a priority.
Okay.
To think about it. People just rush all the time. It's just work, and take care of the kids, and everything else has priority. People started to prioritize food when they gain weight.
Sure,
Right.
when there's an issue.
Then they start to, okay, let me go into that. But then you have to be educated, so still you're right about that. That's a thing. So in general, yeah, it's a lack of making a priority because you just don't have time. People say to me, Monica, I don't have time to cook. But do you have 10 minutes? Yes. So you have time.
Sure.
I don't have time to make breakfast. Do you have 5 minutes? Actually, I have. So you have time. It's just because you're not used to that. It's not a priority anymore for you. That starting again, it feels like, oh my God, so overwhelming. You have to do so much stuff. Actually, you don't. It's much easier than what you think.
Yeah, sure. Like you watch probably 1 hour, 2 hours of TikToks or IG, whatever per day.
Exactly, bravo. You wasted so much time with that.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
That's true. So I also know about a book from a woman who had a child, and her child had like issues with her teeth, and very young, like 6 or 7, and she was wondering where that comes from, and she basically realized that the food that she was cooking and also the food that her child got in school was like nutritionally not good at all, or not sufficient enough in terms of micronutrients and that. So what she basically did is she changed her diet, and what she remembered from her mom when she was younger, her mom made a lot of stews. I think that's what you call. So you have one pan and you put everything in there, so nothing basically gets lost. And she started doing this again, and the health issue for her son basically disappeared over, I don't know, 3, 6, 9 months. And she wrote a book as well, like for moms or for parents in general, to tell them like, here is basically what the schools are recommending, or what nutrients are in, like, I don't know, chips and like the things that you eat regularly. And
was it American?
No, it was actually here in Germany. Yeah.
Okay, sounds American.
Yeah, it sounds American, right? But I think that's also like the standards, the food standards that are in America are much lower. Like in terms of like, do they call them salmonellas? I'm not sure. Like Salmonellen in German. Like for chicken, it's like crazy. For poultry, like the standards that are in America would never be allowed here in Germany to be sold. Yeah.
Okay, you know that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, the food industry has a lot of impact, unfortunately, and the lobbyists are apparently doing a great job of talking to the politicians. But were you ever in contact with, like, or did you ever notice the recommendations in like public schools or just like from the government in general? Because the health ministry is giving recommendations, right? Like, for example, the vitamin D unit stuff, or the WHO, I'm not sure. But did you ever have contact with that? Are you interested in that, or not really?
Not really my field, but I know for sure that in Italy is better. Yes.
Like in terms of school, or
of the food that the school provide, because they have nutritionists, real nutritionists like me, that work behind that and make the meals for the week. But here I, as a client, have a lot of moms. And they are always complaining about the food in the school system, so that's for sure an issue. And what I do with them, because also they don't know how to change that. I mean, this is the food that they give to my child. What can I do with that? I say, it's okay. It's not the devil. It's not the best, but still, it's just one meal per day and not every day. So you have the rest of the day to make it better. So even in that regard, it's still okay. I mean, still parents have most of the control of nutrition, even if the school is not okay.
No, makes sense. Yeah, I like the responsibility part. Like, that's still your responsibility, and you can still make the majority of the impact in regards to nutrition.
Yes.
No, that's cool.
Yes.
Okay. You also, I'm not sure if that's another like focus, but it's pregnancy.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a difference if you have like if you're pregnant and if you're having a child.
Yeah.
What is the main thing in regards to nutrition that you need to consider when a woman is pregnant?
You don't have to eat for 2 people.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that's what you hear all the time, right? Yeah.
You don't.
Okay.
And the main problem also, I see that women are always on diet.
Sure.
So when when they're pregnant, they say, now I can eat. So they overdo it.
Yeah, no, sure.
What if you take out this behavior fact and then you just eat normally?
Sure.
You won't gain that much weight. You won't
Sure.
even feel. But of course, you're gonna be hungrier. But you have to listen to your body. The body's gonna tell you how much it needs, and then you just give it to it, right? And this is what people are struggling to do.
Sure. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you can eat for two people. Yeah, you hear this a lot in, I'm not sure, like advertisement and TV shows. Yeah.
But of course, you still need to adjust it trimester per trimester. So when I follow pregnant people, women, is just we make a meal plan for the first and then the second and last trimester, but not because they have to follow it 100%. It's to give an idea of how much you might need. You see, you might need a little bit less or a little bit more. So pregnancy is the time where to be flexible as much as possible without overthinking, without thinking I'm pregnant, so I have to. No. There is no I have to. It's just more what my body is telling me. Because for instance, I just had a baby and then I don't have a sweet tooth, but I was craving so much chocolate. What I did? I just had the chocolate. I mean, what can I do? But there is a way to eat chocolate. It's not gonna be my meal chocolate.
Sure.
I'm gonna have chocolate over the days, more portions, more times. So then I satisfy my cravings without overdoing it.
Sure.
So still you need some structure, and then you adjust according to your craving that you have to satisfy at the end. Because if not, it stays in your brain all the time, and then it's just it's not good for your brain.
Makes sense. Is it something that you can, we talked about it already, like in terms of individual recommendation and like some generalized, is it still most individual recommendations, or is it like something where you can say, okay, if it's a woman, she's in her early 20s, she has this height, this weight, I can for sure always recommend her this? Or would you say, okay, depending on really her lifestyle, her individual lifestyle, I have to make an individual list, or can you generalize or standardize it?
No, it has to be applied to the lifestyle of the person. I cannot. If you change too much lifestyle of the person, it won't follow that much. I mean, it's gonna be a struggle.
Sure.
So you start always from the habit that the person has and try to redirect in a good way without changing too much.
Okay.
Yeah. So always have to be standardized, personalized. Sorry.
So there's another thing that comes up often, I think, especially in the West now, is like intolerances in regards to food.
Yeah.
How do you manage this? Is it something, do people always know that they have intolerances, or is it something that also comes up in the talk, or once you hand out the meal plan and they realize, hey, something is wrong? Or do people even know like that intolerance does not only mean that you have some bowel issues, it could also be that it impacts your health in, I don't know, maybe that you're less focused or something, right?
Yeah. Well, they're not that frequent at the end. The people think that they have some intolerances. Actually, it's just the result of not eating healthy at the end. If you don't have a good nutrition, then of course then your bowel, your digestion is gonna be a mess. It doesn't make you intolerant to something. Actually, it's more like improve your nutrition, and then also this sort of intolerance that will just fade out.
Sure.
There is a big misconception within women about intolerances. They really believe, the majority believes that if they cannot lose weight, it's because they have some intolerance.
Okay. Interesting.
Like for instance, sometimes they say, when I cut out gluten, then I start to lose weight. When I cut out lactose, then I start to lose weight. There is no such a thing. If you are intolerant, you feel it.
Sure.
You feel it. You just get bloated. You go to the toilet really often, or you don't go at all, and you're always tired. So you have some symptoms.
Sure.
And I'm not sure here in Germany, but in Italy there are so many tests. Places where they test on you something like 1,000 is too much, 100 kind of food on you, and they do just a test on your skin, and then they say to you, okay, so you are intolerant to plenty of stuff. But then I ask, okay, so here it seems like it's telling you that you are intolerant to mango. And then I ask, did you have mango lately? And they say yes. How did you feel? actually good. So you're not intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
So you always start from a symptom. Do not just. It's because then people start to reading stuff and they say, "Oh, I might be intolerant to this, intolerant to that." It always starts with your body. How do you feel about it? So, but when you cannot address to something specifically, go back to your basic nutrition, how you're eating during the day from the last couple of months or even more, and then if you feel like it's not that good, so then it's the answer.
Sure.
You have to structure better your nutrition, and then you see that you're gonna feel better.
So it's basically you need to know how your body reacts to certain things,
Yes.
and then you can
Yes.
Is there certain numbers that you really look at other than weight, weight loss, pounds or kg, whatever? Are there other numbers? We talked about blood tests. Obviously, you can, if you make a blood test, you see your vitamin D levels are low. You take supplements. 3 months later, you take another, and then you see the new level. But are there other data? Is there other data that you look at?
When you do a blood work, yes, of course you have to check your glucose and the cholesterol, but that is totally adjustable. It's just to be sure that there is not an issue, not yet. And for guys, it's really important to check your belly waist, how much is the centimeters. If you go over 95, that is associated to a healthy issue in the future. Why is that? Because guys tend to put fat within more here, not in the thighs like women or like women. And when you gain weight on your belly, it means that the fat mass is inside your organs, so it's called visceral fat.
Okay.
So it means that the fat is compressing organs like your liver, your heart. Usually are people that get exhausted just doing some stairs, or they have sleep apnea.
Sure.
So it's because this fat is compressing the lungs, for instance, so you're not even able to breathe well. So instead of checking the weight for guys, I always recommend check your belly. How is your belly?
Sure.
Because then I can tell you from your belly if your blood work is good or not, just from that. So yeah, that's a number for sure that you have to take in control. And for women, there is not actually. Women are just obsessed with get thinner, and then my job is mainly to say you have a certain body type. You cannot demand yourself to be like I don't know who or whatever. I mean the standards, the beauty standards that you see around.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now the majority of people that come to me at the end, they're healthy. That's the point. They're not that. I mean, of course, if you keep going with these habits, then you can develop some issue in the future. So it's good still that you go to a nutritionist before you get sick. But people come to me and say, I might get sick, and then I just have 5 kilo more. I mean, it's nothing. Don't stress too much. It's okay.
Yeah. I see that also in the gym sometimes. I think. I don't think you need a personal trainer every day, but for sure it makes sense to like if you've never been to a gym before or you're only really doing it casually, you should really know what you're doing, because even if you work out and for whatever reason you might use more heavy weights, if you're doing the exercises wrong, could have a serious impact, like in terms of injury. In the long term. So that's also what I see, like it for sure makes sense like to at least get a workout plan and to have at least once, maybe a month, somebody come in and see how you do the exercises. And I think similar for nutrition.
Yes.
Because you go online, I go on Google, and you see so much information and it's not structured at all. And it's like, some people say vitamin D is bad, some say it's good, some say take 5,000, others 500. So I think it for sure makes sense to go to someone, to an expert and
stay off from Google. Google is not a good friend when it's about that. Not really.
Yeah, it's just not structured with a lot of things. I mean, for some topics, I'm sure it makes sense. If you want to see who won the World Cup in 1996, it makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
But in regards to health, it's very difficult.
What do you like to do in the gym? What do you do?
I just do weights. I just do free weights, and I have a plan which was made by my athlete friend, and I quite trust him. I think he's a really good guy for me to tell me what to do. but yeah, just I do bench press, squats.
Nice.
So I train like a push pull.
Then you're
split.
gonna live forever.
Yeah, I think if you 4 to 5 times a week I go. I really it's part of my just routine. I need to go. Like,
The best anti-aging exercise you could do is lift weights. And people can say, what about cardio? Because sometimes people just go over cardio, right? The first thing that people think is, let's run.
Sure.
But then it's so hard, it's not for you, but still you think like, I should run. Not really. First, find something that you like. And secondly, if you really want to do something that is gonna give you guarantee a long life, is lift weights at least once per week, because you start getting old when you lose muscle mass, right? And it's always time to go to lift weights. And I understand that people find it boring, but really, I mean, when you see, I always was afraid of elderly. So when I was looking at people of 70 years old, I always thought, oh my God, I don't want to get old. Just check how people are at 70 years old. But you know what? Sure. These people are the kind of people that when they're in the 30, they didn't anything.
Yeah.
And if you do anything in the 30, you want to do anything in the 40, 50. I mean, it's going to be harder to start doing something.
Sure.
But then eventually, you know, somebody that's 70, maybe in the social media, you see sometimes an account of a really old woman that started to lift weight at 65. And then she looks like, great, she looks like 50.
Yeah. That's, I think, one of the things you can think about. Like, do you know Joe Rogan, the podcaster? He's like also a stand-up comedian. He's big, but he is. You can think about his ideas whatever you want, you know, because he has a lot of people on from like all sorts of, you know, political sides and stuff. So people maybe see him more as, in terms of ideology, somebody that you should not listen to, but who cares in that sense, because he is 55 and he looks amazing because he's been working out for, I don't know, 30, probably since he's like 15, because he also did MMA.
Yes.
And he's a big like UFC MMA commentator, and he also said like, we have no data or science in regards to somebody who really lifted weights since from 20 until 70 or 75. So we don't really even know how somebody would look like in the 70s or 80s if they really worked out their entire life.
Yes.
And
can you imagine that? Oh.
yeah. It's very interesting. So I also say that I think, as you said, working out might be for many people the toughest thing to do.
Yes.
But it's really
at the beginning though.
Sure, at the beginning, especially I think I would say for both men and women, but for somebody who hasn't worked out and really does it well and does it who's consistent with it. After latest, I would say I could say for myself, after like 2 or 3 months, you see the results and you see other people noticing it.
Yes.
And it's not like a vain thing that you need the compliments. It's just, it does something for your confidence.
Yes, a lot.
And you should do it for yourself because it also impacts your health, you know. So that's what I also try to tell people. Like, do it for like 2 months, and then see because you will like having this part of your routine, and you will notice other people noticing it, which is also massive.
Yes. You will feel also inside because physiological, there are released so many good hormones for you. Even testosterone for women, they start to feel like great. Finally, when they look at the mirror, they say, I'm looking good. Actually, didn't change that much. It's more like the hormones that makes you believe that.
Sure, yes.
But it's okay. I mean, let's take it. So just give it time to the hormones to do their job, and then you're gonna go back to the gym for sure. Yes.
So I think we've covered a lot of like nutritional things.
Yes.
I also have some questions in regards to like your personal development. So why did you choose to? You have your own company, right? Why did you choose to do this compared to maybe working for some agency or working for a company? Did you ever think about this, or was it an option, or?
No, it was never an option.
Okay.
Maybe I tried in the past, let me think about it. No, but at the end, I just started with my thing, and then I was not born to work for somebody else.
I hear you.
I never worked for somebody else. Maybe at the beginning, when I tried, but then I didn't really try, you know, just because other people do, and then you try it as well, but you don't feel like your thing, right? And I decided to do that because I have the freedom to change my approach. My approach over all these 8 years changed a lot, and it's because I can do that. If I was working for somebody else, I wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Sure, yeah,
And that would be a limitation for how professional can take care of people, because if the company requires me to do this thing and they don't change it at all, so people might not have any result. So you have to grow with people. I grew a lot because thankfully from my clients. So at first, as I said, I was so much into diets, because when you study nutrition at university, they just told you how many kind of diets you can do and how to calculate this and calculate that. Okay, and then you believe, okay, so that's the thing. I mean, I just need to do that. And then you do it in real life, and then you see people struggle to do that, and then you start to think, why is that? I mean, what I'm doing wrong? And then you just develop more and more and more until you just give people a better solution that they can finally reach, finally good result reach. Yes.
Yeah, you also get, I mean, my personal experience, you get more confident as you do this.
Yes.
Obviously, because you have the experience, you know what works, what doesn't, and you also keep learning. Like, you know, it's like even after you have, I don't know, 10 years experience, there's like some new client or some new thing that comes up.
Yes.
Is there something that you, in regard to your own business, that you would do differently now, or is it like it's all work in progress really, or?
I would start earlier to work on the business part, the marketing stuff, because they don't teach them to you at the university. They just teach you technical stuff. So you don't think like your job like an actual business, even though you're opening a business, but you feel more like I don't know, a dentist or a doctor. I mean, you don't think like you have to you have to market your job, your work. So yeah, definitely I will start to do that much earlier, because that's important.
Yeah. And what is your do you have something coming up, something that's new in regards to your business? Do you want to expand, or is it you're quite happy here in Berlin how it is?
I'm quite happy, but I'm expanding more online, because then I can reach more people. And I have one project going on where I coach a group of women so they can support each other. They started with coming that they want to lose weight, but then at the end they just think, oh, I'm okay with this. I don't want to think about that anymore. I'm free to go to the beach with my bikini, fuck people. I mean, I don't care anymore. So that's my actual project. And another one that I'm doing this summertime is teaching other nutritionists how to do the same, because I know they struggle to have enough clients that come back. They come back, or at least they go till the end of the process. And that's because there is this missing coaching part, at least from in nutrition they teach you how to coach people, but that's something missing. I mean, if you want to change somebody's lifestyle, how are you going to do that? You have to coach them, you have to give them some motivation. How do you do that?
Definitely.
And to give also some scientific knowledge about stop making crazy diets for people, because that doesn't work. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, because if you think about it, how many diets we have seen till now, right? So if that was the solution, why still people are struggling? Because that's not the solution at all.
It's for sure a lifestyle thing. I mean, a large percentage of it is your lifestyle and your routines. So but that's interesting. So you're also doing B2B kind of, with other nutritionists. That's very.
I'm starting, because now I want to expand it. Let's go.
It's super interesting. It's I think it's the things you said were very interesting, and also your approach I think is great in regards to lifestyle and the things that you include.
Thank you.
Especially the things with like, I think most people, as you said, it's about like selling a product. Doesn't matter if it works or not. And you said it right, like it doesn't matter if you buy these supplements, make sure that you get the basics right. And if you need help with that, awesome. There are people like you telling people, this is how you should maybe structure your day, these are the meals. So that's pretty awesome. And
if I can say one thing,
Sure.
in general to add, people have to stop thinking they have to do everything by their own. So that's why they go to Google, right?
Yeah.
I can find a solution by myself, or then I just ask to my friend what kind of diet it does, or what kind of supplements it does, or what workout it does, right? Just to maybe save some money, but actually it's not saving money at all.
In the long term, yeah.
In the long term, you're wasting your time, you're wasting money in the long term. So don't do it by yourself. I mean, just find the right professional. At least try that, because I understand that sometimes it's hard to find the right professional.
It is, yeah.
And that's another thing. Why you don't feel comfortable with the profession doesn't matter which kind. If you don't feel comfortable, you are paying the profession. Just go away.
Yeah.
Because I know plenty of women that actually they keep going, and then I say, why did you do that? I mean, you didn't like the diet, you didn't like the person, so why did you still do that, right? And I say, I don't know, I just started, and then I mean, you are hiring that person, so you can still fire the person as well.
Definitely.
So don't do that anymore. So always find somebody that makes you feel comfortable first, that you see that is listening to you and not just giving something, take it and do it. And just follow up. Then you see that really take care of you. Because if not, why are you spending your money?
Yeah, you're spending time and money, and as you said, in the long term, even if it's I don't know if you like the person, but if the things are not right for you, you will lose money as well. You know. Yeah. So why did you said you came to you studied in Rome? You are from Italy, right?
Yes.
You studied in Rome, and did you come directly from Rome to Berlin? So what was that move like? Like, why did you decide to come to Berlin?
I just need a change, and the lifestyle in Italy, I don't like it anymore. I mean, it's good to have some, just to travel as a tourist, but now I'm more a tourist. I'm not like a citizen anymore. But yeah, and then I just need a change. I always travel a lot in my life. I lived 2 years in Poland, and I go to Brazil all the time. So then I just thought, okay, let's change the air around, and then I said, okay, let's try Berlin. Everybody's going to Berlin, and then everything worked out. I opened my office, and then I started to expand. So it was a good thing that I did that, because in Rome it's not that good, the situation. So
in terms of economic,
also to make a family. I would never do a family in Italy. It's gonna be much harder.
Okay. In terms of what?
Like? Sustain from the government, or even services, public services.
Sure.
I do not recommend Italy unless you're really rich, so then you can do that, of course. But yeah,
that's kind of the same. I mean, it depends where you go, but in the US, especially if you're in the big cities, you need to make a lot of money to have you can have a great life if your income matches like the things that you need to buy. Because otherwise, I would say to hustle.
Yeah.
And in America, it's a real hustle because you get nothing. It's like. That's how the system is set up, and it's there's positives and negatives, but it's really difficult to make it if you have nothing. If you really make a good amount of money, you can live, I think, a very good life, but you need to make good money.
Yes.
But I didn't know that about Italy. It's interesting. I've unfortunately never been. I wanted to check it out at some point. But are there any other big cultural differences between, I don't know, Germany or Germans and Italians or Italy?
Well, I would say that I live in a bubble here in Berlin, because Italians spend time with Italians, Spanish people with Spanish people. We have all these small, big actually communities from other cultures that I do not spend that quite time with Germans. So I'm not sure about the differences, but I can say that the lifestyle at the end it's way better than Italy. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were in Rome, did you do your bachelor's in Rome as well?
Yes, bachelor and master's, and all the studies I did that over there. Yes.
And in general, how would you rate the university system there, the higher education system?
Okay, they make it hard for you to finish.
Okay,
yes.
Why that?
I see that I'm not sure here in Germany, but I was speaking with the Danish guy, and when I told him how many hours we study per day and lectures we have in the university, he said to me, "And when the hell are you gonna study? Because the university in Italy, it's like you have to study so many things, and many of them are not even related to your topic. You just have to do it. I don't know why. And that just slow downs you. I mean, nobody can finish the bachelor in 2 years, which should be 2 years.
Okay.
You don't finish in 2 years, and this is gonna take you 3 years if you're a good one. If
Okay.
you are average person, 4 years. Because it's way too many exams, way too many topics to do that. And what I'm using right now, I believe is gonna be just the 20% of what I study in university.
Sure,
So
yeah.
can you imagine that? But still, it gives you a lot of knowledge. You know, plenty of stuff, a bit of everything. But
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe I cannot even say that was a waste of time. But still, it would be much easier if I could have finished earlier my studies. That's
Sure.
for sure.
Yeah, it for sure gave you experience, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe also social. I think that's it's a big point in university, maybe. But I studied in the US, and I really enjoyed the studies actually. Coming from high school in Germany, so I did my primary school and high school in Germany, and we had just, I think in 10th grade we had like 14 subjects, and it's like, how much do I use from this? You know, almost nothing. It's like,
Okay, it's the same.
but I did business administration and emphasis in real estate, so that was so I was lucky in that sense that compared to my peers in high school, I knew what I wanted to do kind of. So the business and the real estate studies were actually really good where I went, so I was lucky there, you know. And but we also had like general electives, I think they were called, so something not related to your studies, but luckily also there were not too many of those. I also know that in Germany you have to take those, but they're also not, I think maybe 5% or 10% of your entire curriculum.
Okay.
So it's maybe not that bad as in Italy.
Yeah, but it's a lot of theory in Italy and not so much practical stuff. So when you finish to study, you think like, okay, so what now? You know, like you don't know for what I should do.
Sure.
It's like a lot of theory. Can you imagine that biology in Italy, they didn't have enough microscopes for us?
Yeah, okay, in Rome. That's not good.
It was one microscope for 20 people. 20.
That's not
so
good.
we had to take turns, and it was like 2 hours just to do 2 minutes on the thing, like I don't even know in English how it's called, but I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's biology. I should do that every day.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so not that good perspective.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you a lot. Do you have anything you want to say in regards to nutrition? Something that's important, or I don't know, in life in general?
No. You did really nice questions, and we covered a lot.
Okay.
And I just wanted to give people the idea that it's not that hard to have a good nutrition. It's more like persistence and listen to yourself and what you really need. I do not feel guilty because you had plenty of biscuits. It's okay. Nothing happened.
Yeah. So what I take away is also a big part of psychology. Very big part.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to tell where people can find you? Like your website and your socials maybe?
Yes, thank you. You can find me on Google. You just type Nutritionist Berlin. My website, in fact, is nutritionistberlin.com.
Okay.
And on Instagram, you can find me like Monica_Nutrizionista. It's Italian, but you can now, everything is translated, so you can still contact me through that. And these two, yes.
Great. So that was IG, right?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Monica. Thank you.
You're really welcome, and thank you for inviting me.